everybody, and good evening. Welcome to Webinar Wednesday, where I give the moms and dads here some live training all about nutrition, but mostly about mindset around the foods that you eat. So welcome to all of our new fans. I also wanted to point out that we're going to be part of a podcast series on Anchor and Spotify for the viewers here. So my name is Bethany, and I'm the owner of Nutritious and Delicious, and I will be taking you guys through the topic tonight all about the fears around calories, around the foods that you actually love. So tonight, join me here and ask me questions about your mindset and where you're struggling with your calories right now, and where you're going to go with this, right? So tonight's topic is all about, are calories all equal? Now, I understand when we're stressed, we crave really high calorie foods. And what I want to talk to you today about is the foods that you love, is about putting these into your plan on a regular basis, and you can actually have them without feeling deprived. So now I ask you this: do you think all calories are equal? What's the first thing that comes to mind for you when I say that? Do you think this is something that scares you? Is this something that you say to yourself, I can't ever eat like the burgers, the pizzas, the chocolate, like it all, goes on right away, like the weight packs right on. But, a lot of people, they tell themselves they shouldn't be eating these things. So where does your mind go when I tell you that, you can have these things in your plan? I find it's a bit of a mind boggle for people, this one. So what I want to teach you today is 4 ways to turn those unhealthy calories into nutrient-dense calories so your body actually feels satisfied and you don't mentally feel deprived and then end up binge eating those foods anyways. So have you ever heard this, we want what we can't have? And that's precisely what happens here. So what do you do when somebody tells you you can't eat something? It's usually something that backfires on you and you end up gorging on that food instead. So let's take a look at the 4 most common foods that you crave and what you can do to make healthier replacements. So number 1, this is chocolate. Oh, how I love chocolate myself. It's kryptonite. It's sweet. It's soothing for the body. And did you know actually most people who crave chocolate are actually low in magnesium? Darn. So chocolate for some calms the body, and a lot of people actually, when they do crave chocolate, are people that are typically having issues with dairy anyways. Usually they're more sensitive to dairy products, and usually when you're more sensitive to these things, unfortunately you crave them even more. So my advice for the chocoholic in you is to dip the fresh strawberries into melted chocolate and then drizzle white chocolate lines over the top. They are so good. And they make much more of a nutrient-dense dessert. And then that way you can have like a full cup of strawberries and do this. And it's quite filling actually, which is really nice. And another way to get the chocolate fix is to get some vegan protein powder. I don't usually endorse any types. I personally myself, I use Vega just because it's dairy-free, gluten-free, and it actually tastes really good. So a lot of people have their own preferences. I usually just don't recommend anything that has any kind of sucralose or aspartame or anything like that. Just find one that has stevia in it because it's a lot more natural for your body. So the greatest one for this is to actually make it into a smoothie. So you can add a frozen banana and almond butter so it actually becomes super nutrient dense. And then what I usually like to do is grate chocolate on the top as well, so it makes it amazing. Number 2, this is for the chip lovers. So these are the people that enjoy the salt. So when you crave chips, then you really are enjoying basically something that is covered in sea salt and smothered all over it. So my suggestion for this one, if you're craving salt, first of all, you're usually you're usually lacking iodine in your diet. So people that are usually missing out on the salt is because we're not having the seafood. We don't live close to the sea typically, or we're getting seafood transported to us and it's not it's not that nutrient dense, unfortunately, with all the shipping and everything that's going on and freezing and things like that. So typically people that are lacking iodine are usually people that already have thyroid issues, and that's why we see these cravings as well. So most of our like I said, most of our diet that actually comes from iodine is typically seafood. So if you don't eat a lot of it, which not many people inland do, that's typically why we see this craving going on. So for the chip lovers, I usually would say take some carrot sticks, sliced zucchini, turnips, and coat them in coconut oil and rub them with lots of sea salt and a lot of different seasonings that you like. Then what you usually do is you can bake them in the oven until they're super crispy, and these are actually like super addicting themselves, but they're so much more nutrients dense for you. Another one you can actually do is use the organic sea salt and vinegar chips, like kettle chips. So just with this one, be careful, because some of the ingredients when you do buy chips, you have to make sure there's like 4 or 5 ingredients and there's nothing that has like milk or it's coated in flour, anything like that, because sometimes the salt and vinegar ones actually contain milk, which kind of backfires on you because it ends up making you crave more. So just make sure that you're actually looking at the bag itself and the ingredients more than anything. Number 3, pizza lovers. Now this one typically is for the guys, but most women, will eat this too. But this is if you have a guy in your life that loves pizza. And what I usually suggest is to make a fun pizza night. So you can make your own pizzas from scratch. They're really, really simple. I love doing this with my family, as you can make your own bread. You can use like a whole wheat pita shell. So, what you want to do is make sure obviously you get something sturdy enough to hold the ingredients, first of all. And you can also buy whole wheat pita shells as well. So for those that are lucky enough in the membership right now, they actually get the pita pizzas. So you guys can actually make these with your kids. Or for your partners. They're super easy. They're really delicious. It's one of the favorites actually for a lot of families, and you can put your own ingredients on them, which is perfect because some people are picky, right? If you think about it, pizza actually isn't really that unhealthy. It's just what you put on it. You can use, like I said, you can use a whole wheat, flatbread that's sturdy. You can use lots of different veggies. You can use some hard cheese from the deli. I typically advise more the hard cheese, like the ones that you buy in the deli meat section, versus like going to where the milk and eggs are, because in that section typically you do see the cheese blocks, but if you read the ingredients, they do typically have a lot of food coloring to make them look like cheese. And modified milk ingredients, which modified milk ingredients is actually something synthetic made in a lab from a scientist. So you don't want to eat that kind of stuff. It's not that good for you. So I usually advise the hard cheese, the ones that are a little bit more expensive. You get a little bit less, but they're usually aged cheeses that you can find and you can grate them. Parmesan's a good one to go with. Even a mozzarella ball, like it seems super simple, but just cutting it and using that, like it's really, really good. You can use wholesome chicken on your pizza. You can use, leftover steak even from the night before, just slicing that up, or some prosciutto if you like that as well. And lastly, number 4 is ice cream. Oh, this one's a fan favorite, and I also fall into this category too. Who doesn't like a nice ice cream, right, on a hot day? So we actually have some recipes in our recipe book for our mommy members, and it's so easy to make. You don't even need an ice cream maker. Like, I made this super simple for my kids, tested it on them, they love it. So with summer coming up, I love to cool down with these healthy alternatives. And obviously, yes, when we're out, we usually grab a kid's cone with some wholesome organic ice cream. And even sometimes we can find the ones that have the almond milk or coconut milk, which is my favorite. And they're starting to get more of these. I've noticed, like in the city, if you live there, I love to, go and get those. So even if you're going for ice cream when you're out, you can add in like nuts and seeds and make it a little bit healthier. You can add like frozen fruit. So if you're adding these things in, it's going to make it so much more healthier. So the ice creams in the recipe book that we have for the mommy membership are things like chocolate raspberry fudge pops. These are a great one to make for the kids for popsicles. For the adults as well, even there's chocolate maple ice cream and chocolate peanut butter ice cream for a family dessert. So these are like a slice of heaven. They're delicious. So that's basically it. So that's exactly what you can eat. Like what I was saying before is like, you don't have to eat, junk food to get those cravings, matched. So as a member, you don't have to eat like a rabbit, and instead you can eat all your favorite foods. But what we're doing is there's better quality of ingredients in the foods instead. And I'm showing you how to make it something that you can eat and actually look forward to and not feel like you're feeling so deprived. Because I find that's where a lot of people start to sort of mess up. They go on sort of a diet plan. They eat like a rabbit. They don't really enjoy what they're eating. They miss all the foods that they usually crave, like chocolate, pizza, pasta. Usually it's typically anything with sugar and anything carbohydrate load, because it makes us feel good, right? But what I'm saying is we're not taking those away. We're actually making them more of a lifestyle. So you can actually have them, but we're just using better quality of foods. So what I want you to say is, I want you to know is all calories, they're not all equal, right? So if we have really poor quality non-foods, like the ones I mentioned above, but if you're buying them kind of at the grocery store, like pre-done, typically they have a lot of chemicals, garbage, fillers in them. You don't feel full, you don't feel satisfied, and you're putting these foods into your body and it's not doing anything, and then your body's telling itself like, I'm still hungry, I'm still craving this same type of food. And what's really sad is a lot of these foods, junk foods, when they are made, they're actually usually made in a science lab, and unfortunately they are made for you to crave them. So that's why these companies make a lot more money, because you go back and you buy more of them, and it's kind of a vicious cycle, right? So that way, it's more likely you're going to eat better portions when you're actually eating the quality foods, the quality ingredients, and not actually gorging on the wrong things that don't actually make your body feel good and actually, like I said, make you crave so much more. Like I said, scientists have done so many studies on them, and they tested on animals, they tested on like lab rats and all that kind of stuff. And they want to see if they're going to go back for more. And that's exactly how they create the food, because they know the exact sweetness, saltness that you need to get to that bliss point. So our food is changing, unfortunately, but we can actually make these foods so much healthier, and I can show you how. So now if you have any comments or questions or concerns, I would love you, to write in the comments here for me today. And if you guys want to be part of the 6-month Mummy membership and get the recipe book for yourself, we have opened up the membership right now, and it's $35 Canadian a month, and you'll be getting the amazing recipe book. There's about 50 recipes in there for you and your family. There's lots of education around food from myself and lots of videos around your mindset, and there's lots of numerous resources for like your stress management, because we know, it's not just, following a plan. There's a lot of stress and emotions that are involved with food as well. How do you curb eating late at night junk food? Well, it kind of depends what you're doing during the day. So if you are lacking in food during the day, your blood sugar is going to dip throughout the day. So you're kind of doing this like up and down spike with your blood sugars. And if you're eating late at night, it's either typically emotion based, or your blood sugars are really unstable. And I would suggest probably you need to eat breakfast first thing in the morning, usually within an hour of waking up. Most people typically are going for coffee first thing, and coffee actually is an appetite suppressant. So most people drink coffee, they don't feel hungry for like a few hours, and they feel really revved up. Their metabolism is going really fast. And then people are usually kind of eating maybe like a mid-snack lunch type of thing. And then people eat so much at dinner time. And we've actually kind of got it backwards in society, especially the Western society. Breakfast should be our biggest meal of the day. And, it's something where you're going to start bigger with breakfast and then work your way down to sort of a medium lunch and then more of a snack size to dinner. Because what's happening is, on a natural state, your body is actually, your metabolism is slowing down throughout the day, because it's getting ready to rest. And that's typically how your cycle in your body is going. Craving food at nighttime, junk food, it's like I said, it's usually more of an emotion that is tied to it. It's usually something that is tied to either a happy feeling, like getting ice cream as a kid or being fed to comfort you, or it could be kind of the opposite. It's comfort, it's food to make you feel full and sedated and forget. It's a bit of a pain number. So I would say in those circumstances, always be prepared ahead of time for them, because if you know they're going to come up, it's like having those healthy pizzas ready, having those healthy meals ready, cutting up some fruits and vegetables for snacking. Light popcorn's a good idea. Fruits and vegetables with dips are a good idea. Not too many food combinations like put together. Like when I say like food combinations, I'm talking like lots of different type of takeouts, like mixing it all together, because then you're going to end up with a massive stomach ache, and then you repeat the entire cycle the next day. You're not feeling good, then you try and fast for the whole day, and it kind of creates this cycle, and you want to get away from that cycle, because that's kind of an all or nothing binge sort of restrict cycle, and it usually starts in your brain. So I hope that answered your question there. So I will leave the link in the video for you guys here to check out the sign up page, and you will get to watch a video from myself and see what everything is involved in the 6-month Mommy membership. So thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight, and same time and same place next week, and we'll be talking about a brand new topic. So in good health, you guys. Bye for now.